What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Rana out of Houston, Texas. Guys, today I have someone very special here in my office, the Investopia Online headquarters, Mr. Ben Noman. Ben and I...
What's up?
Absolutely. Oh, was that your cue? Dude, you're supposed to follow the director's cues. What's wrong with this guy? All right, cool. Guys, so we got Ben in the house. We're going to go over what is JVing, why do we JV, and how do you JV. So I wanted to call Ben into the office and kind of have a candid conversation, right, about the whole wholesaling that you see. You see people throwing that word around. You know, you see online people talk about bring me, you know, your deals. I got buyers and blah blah blah. When it's only their aunt and uncle buying deals across the block. So. I'm serious.
It's funny because it's true.
It's true.
It's funny because it's true.
It's true. It's true, guys. All right, guys. So we're going to go over what is JV, okay? JV stands for joint venture, all right? So, for example, I'm going to give you guys a live scenario, okay? Ben has a contract on a property, okay? For example, if he can't find a buyer or his buyer's list is not as, number one, strong enough, or his buyer list is not big enough, or his buyer's list isn't to where he, you know, is able to sell his deal, he'll call someone like myself who has an established buyer's list, who has a strong, you know, I've got the buyers. In other words, you know, our buyers are paying top dollars. Sometimes you'll go out to networking events and people will tell you, hey, I'm buying at this percentage and that percentage. In reality, when you send them a deal, they tell you that's not the case. So long story short, we've done a deal. We've done a few deals together. Ben's brought me a deal and we got to move that for him. It was a little over $500,000. Show me the money. Right? And we sold the deal for Ben, right? So I want to go over once again, you know, what JVing is, and that's kind of what it is, right? So you're the wholesaler A, we are wholesaler B. We go into a contract, okay, which is called, you know what that contract's called?
JV, joint venture.
It's a joint venture agreement, right? Dada ding, dada boom. So joint venture agreement. Now I have rights in that contract to market to all of my buyers through Ben's contract. So Ben has a contract with seller, okay? I come in, I've got an assignment of contract through Ben. Now I have rights in my contract through Ben, okay? And I assign my rights over in the contract to my end buyer. At the end of the day, we all go to closing and everyone gets paid. Does that sound simple enough? Cha-ching! All right. Cool. Ben, I want to go over some of the cons of JVing. What is some of the stuff that you have ran into as far as, you know, something, we'll go over the pros of JVing too, but I want to talk about the cons of JVing with someone. So what is your experience? I mean, let's speak from experience, right?
Yeah. So, you know, there is all kinds of people in this business. You know, like we were saying the other day, you know, sometimes that one version of you know, this is something illegal, never do it, is you actually attempt to JV a property that you don't have an agreement with. So like, you know, Bob's on Facebook and he sees, you know, Ben's deal out there and he just tacks on his 10K assignment on top, but he doesn't have a conversation with him first, like, hey, let's JV this deal together. You know, what I understand is that that's illegal. And so this is not that. That's one of the people, you know, that's kind of just throwing a bad name on this whole thing. I guess one of the cons would be that, you know, if you're newer, you can think, hey, you know, JVing costs money. But really, in all reality, I'm trying to sell a deal for $120, and my buyer's list, the most they'll buy that for is $120 because they only have 200 buyers, and it's not the right deal for them. And then Ron over here, we just looked at his buyers list, and y'all wouldn't believe me if I told you I could see how many emails he sent out on a deal for his buyers list. You know, it's just a little insane. So he has a buyer that, you know, is willing to pay more than my buyer, so it doesn't directly come out of my pocket. You know, sometimes it's the wrong way to think about it. But yeah. The next thing is,
I mean, the next thing, the next con would be is, you know, the negative thing I would say would, you know, it could delay closing.
Yeah.
Right?
If it's the wrong person.
If you're
Or you don't know what you're doing too.
Yeah. So the problem that we have nowadays is wholesalers bring us deals even till today, right? And they give us ARV, they give us the sales price, the ARV, the comps, and it's just not right. This is why wholesalers get a bad rap, I think. Right?
Yeah, and you have to know what your buyers are doing. So Ron, when he talks to me, he knows what his buyers are doing, and that's how you're legitimate with the seller too. Is you're not giving the seller, you're not telling the seller, hey, I can purchase it for $300,000, and then it's a $150K neighborhood. Like what you can get things done quick.
Absolutely, you rub a seller the wrong way, and what else happens? You lose the deal.
If you rub them the wrong way, and then you take 3 months to try to get the deal closed. Oh, let me add an extension. Yeah. Let me add an extension to try to sell it. You lose the deal.
You can lose the deal also, right?
Yeah.
Another thing that I've noticed that other wholesalers are doing when they tell you to bring them your deals is they just cut you out of the deal.
Man.
Right? I've seen it time and time after. Other wholesalers have contacted me before and say, hey, this wholesaler told me he has a buyer's list. I sent him my deal. He contacted the seller directly and got it under contract. Now what do I do? This is my first deal.
I've heard nightmares like that before. I haven't witnessed that personally, but I've heard nightmares like that. And these deals aren't they're not they're not always the cheapest to get.
It's not always easy, right?
And it's not this business isn't sunshine and rainbows either.
Absolutely, you're right. So the other thing is, as a new wholesaler, let me ask you, Ben, why do you think, as a new wholesaler, someone who's getting into the business, why should they JV with someone who is already established, who's known out there? Why should they go out and JV with people? Why?
So, I personally, actually, I've been JVing deals for a long time, with people other than Ron as well. And this is the quickest way to get your footing, to get your footing in what's going on, to really, just catapult your momentum.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
It's kind of like, say you're a newbie. It's kind of like It's kind of a little mentoring.
I have mentored people through deals without charging them a dime. Right? It's just what it is.
And that's better too, because you're actually working,
Yeah, and I'm a firm believer in earning while you're learning. Right? So absolutely, and that's the biggest thing is you gotta be able to leverage. Another thing is you got to be able to leverage other people too, especially when you're wholesaling, right? And you'll know very quickly if your JV partner is not willing to answer any of your questions. And that's when you're not partnering up with the right buyer. Because check this out, guys. When you're doing this business, you want to be in the business of multiple transactions, right? The business of repeat business. So if that wholesaler is just telling you, hey, no, send me the deal, I'll find you the buyer, and we possibly see you at closing, that's not the person you want to JV with, right? Whenever people JV with us, you guys get my personal cell number. I'm in contact with you guys also, even though my company, I've got people in my company who are going out there and handling the transaction, right? But I want to make sure, as the leader and as the owner of the company, I want to make sure, hey, is Ben being taken care of?
I'm laughing right now because me and Ron have been on the cell phone at like 11:45 at night talking about a deal for 30 minutes or something like that. We're trying to get through working out bad cell service.
We're just masterminding on the deal, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Like for example, we had, what is that, Collie Montel? We had that one deal.
Yeah.
It was a $520,000, something like $512,000.
Yeah.
Something like that. It was an astronomical number. Long story short, that deal was not a walk in the park. We had a lot of issues, right? We had a lot of internal issues on that deal, and we had a lot of external issues on that deal, right?
The deals that are super easy never make the most anyways, too.
They don't. No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. So let's go over some of the pros. This is my favorite part because I'm always preaching about, hey, JV, let's go to dispomydeal.com, send us your deals, but I want my viewers to hear it from someone other than me. Like, hey, what is the pros? Why did you come to me and say, hey, Ron, I got this deal. What made you remotely think, like, let me send this deal to Ron and see if he can move it?
Yeah, so to be frank with everyone here, I enjoy connecting with sellers. So that's something I enjoy. That's something I'm good at. I'm really natural at kind of building a connection, like a friendly bond with the seller, to where they feel comfortable with me pretty dang quickly. But I literally hate selling deals. I've gone to properties and I've made good spreads before wholesaling with myself, but you drive to the property, like say if you are driving the property because the buyer says, hey, I want to meet you there or whatever, you go to the property like 5 times, and Ron's probably laughing because he knows that it's not always the easiest.
Exactly.
And you'll go to the property 5 times, the buyer will say, yeah, I'm here to look at it, I'm serious.
I didn't get to check out the water heater last time I was here. Let me go back and check out that water heater.
Oh man. And also the showings on these properties, they can be limited sometimes. So speed with the showing, speed with getting the buyers in. And when I'm doing it myself, I don't have the world's biggest buyers list. So say I get 5 people in there, and then basically they're trying to bully me around on the pricing, and just really they treat you disrespectful. If some of and you've had buyers I know too that you have to cancel off your list, because not everyone treats you respectfully, and you just say, hey, I don't want to work with that person anymore. I've had people try to ask me to pay tickets and things like that.
Tickets for what?
Outside of closing. What?
What in the world?
Yeah, man. Anyways, that's just part of some things that come with selling deals. They can get you to try to pay tickets. They can try to get you to do all kinds of crazy stuff. But so I don't like dealing with that. I don't like it. So
right.
That's why
I think the biggest thing also, one of the key things is having speed, right? Speed of transaction. Because
Yes.
when we bring in a buyer, we tell the buyer, you got to close quickly so we can move on to the next deal, right? For example, no matter if it's a $500,000 deal or if it's a $100,000 deal, it doesn't matter at all. Or if it's an apartment deal that we're wholesaling, I tell the buyers the same deal. Hey, speed always wins. Who can close faster with me, right? Either you go with a hard money lender. I prefer cash buyers, of course, right? And we have a big list of cash buyers also, along with our hard money lender buyers too. So I just tell them, hey, who can close the quickest? Sometimes you're going to be losing a few $1,000s, but if I can close that deal within a certain time frame, I'm not worried about a few $1,000s. Like, hey, it's at that point, it's just a unit. Like, we're just moving deals.
we don't have time for 3 months
to
get especially if you're a newer wholesaler and you've gone to one meetup, you have a couple people who said they were buyers. We don't have time to ring around the rosy with
Absolutely.
with 10 buyers or something.
Yeah, and not to mention, right, we're going to talk about title issues, right? When people JV with established wholesalers, they know how to encumber title issues, right? YouTube University is not going to come out of the screen and try to help you encumber those titles, any kind of issues on the properties. That's what we do. That's what we get paid to do.
I have another thing to mention too.
Sure.
Somebody was texting me last night about a deal and if he thought his time was worth it. So when and I gave him my advice on it, you as a more experienced investor wholesaler, you understand if something's going to be worth your time. So I've heard Ron tell people, hey, this isn't worth your time. You need to go look for another deal, or hey, this is what we need to, say for instance, renegotiate to or whatever. So you're like saving a lot of time. What do you think?
No, I agree. The worst thing you can do is keep your wheel spinning with the same seller over and over again and not get places, right? And that's one thing that I tell new wholesalers also. I'm gonna tell you straightforward. I mean, I don't care if I hurt your feelings or not, but at the end of the day, you're gonna make money with me, right? You either want to get your feelings hurt and make money, or you either want to feel good about yourself and not make any money and not pay any bills. I'd be the other guy, right? It is what it is. So, we definitely spoke about, so we're coming towards the end of the video. We talked about JVing, we talked about the cons, we talked about the pros, right? And I like to touch a subject here where a lot of people are throwing out there, hey, I'll dispo your deal for a flat fee, right? I don't believe in flat fees. Because of the sheer fact that we're not incentivized to go back. Anyone who says, hey, here's a flat fee, we'll go and do it, they're not incentivized to go back and renegotiate that contract, okay? Because at the end of the day, all right, cool, Ben, you sent me a deal, I made my $3,000, I'm good. But what about Ben's pocket now, right? Well, what about expanding the deal, right? Making more money on the deal. So what we do is we go in on a percentage, right? For example, with a wholesaler like Ben, and say, hey Ben, we'll do this, even Steven, or we'll do this and this way, right? But we are more incentivized to go back and renegotiate the contract with the seller, because my team has been trained like assassins. I used to train car sales guys how to negotiate. When I have my team, I train them how to negotiate also. Okay, just like how I used to deal in the car business, right? So we're more incentivized to go back and renegotiate the contract, okay, with the seller. Not only that, we also sometimes go back and renegotiate the contract with the buyer, right? And we tell the buyer, say, hey, listen, we've dropped this price by 10 grand. You know, what is it that, how can we make this deal even better, right? Sometimes we even pass the savings on to the buyer and say, hey, guess what, man? I got to drop the price here by 10 grand. I'm going to drop it by 2 grand for you. Oh, thanks, Ron. I appreciate that. Because that deal was already making sense, right? Say, hey, man, here's what I did for myself. Now I want to help you out. And now I just basically got that buyer for a very, very, very long time. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's very interesting, and that's if you that's not a beginner level skill either, because and a lot of this negotiating and stuff like that is kind of a place you have to come from of. It's not a beginner level skill. I don't know what I was trying to.
No, you have to be able to you got to be able to go through those negative situations in order to know how to overcome them. You need experience. In other words, you look at that word is experience.
Yep.
Yeah, right. So whenever you guys are out there, especially if you're in the Houston market, be sure to hit me up on Instagram. Be sure to hit me up on Facebook. Look us up, right? Make sure you like and smash the subscribe button. Make sure you smash the like button, guys. We're gonna be heading out of here. Ben, you got any end thoughts?
Sure. Just don't be afraid to make win-win situations. Hit me up on Facebook at Ben Nauman, don't be afraid to work together. JVing can be a great thing, and speed. And let's do these deals.
Just make some money, baby. All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Peace out.